I told y'all once, and I'm gonna tell you again, stop using your debit card and cash when you purchase things. If you're looking to build your credit, you want to use your credit cards. Credit cards is the way to go. Why? Because debit cards and cash is not linked to your credit report. It's not linked to your credit scores. Think about it. When you apply for a credit card, you have to submit your social security number, and then they run your credit, and then you get granted that line of credit. So when you use your credit card, as you make on time payments, right? As you keep your utilization low, it raises your credit score. When you use cash and debit, it has no it's not related to your credit at all. Most people were raised, right, and taught to only use your credit card for emergency situations or just to pay your bills. That's not the purpose of a credit card. The purpose of the credit card is to use it for everything, but the key is to pay it off every month prior to the statement date. And I think that's where most people go wrong. They use it, right? And then they don't have the money to pay it off in full that same month. So then they allow the balance to carry over. That's where you go wrong. That's where you start going into credit card debt. And that's where you allow the credit card company to charge you interest. Okay? Credit card companies make money off of you in two ways: interest and transaction fees. The transaction fees is not towards you, right? If you go to Walmart and purchase something, they're going to charge Walmart the transaction fee every time you swipe that credit card. But as you allow that balance on that credit card to carry over to the next statement, the billing cycle, you're now giving permission for that credit card company to charge you extra, to charge you interest. So the key is to charge up the card, right? And I know we've been taught keep below 30%. That really doesn't matter if you use this method right here. You can actually max out the credit card. Say you max out a $500 credit card, right? As long as you pay off that $500 in total, in full, by the statement date of that credit card, the credit bureaus will never know that you maxed out the credit card. Okay? There's two dates. You got the statement date and the due date. The statement date is the day the credit card company actually reports your balance on that credit card to the credit bureaus. The due date comes after the statement date, and that's telling you what's the minimum payment due because you allowed that balance to carry over that next billing cycle. So if you never allow a balance to carry over to the next billing cycle, then you would never have a due date. You would never have interest added on the money you spent. Think about that, right? So you charge up the card, 20, 30, 100%, doesn't matter. 3 or 4 days prior to the statement date, pay it off back to zero, right? So now you just have an on-time payment. Why? Because you only go late if you miss the minimum due date, right? The payment on the due date. That's the only time you get late, is when you miss the payment on the due date. But if you pay it off by the statement date, again, the due date is irrelevant. So you never go late, right? Now you have an on-time payment history getting reported to the credit bureaus every single month. But now you have a very low credit card utilization. So now what? You maxing out your credit scores. Credit card utilization makes up 165 points of your credit scores. So if you have multiple credit cards and you keeping those very low utilization, guess what? You're maxing out those points and you have 165 points. But once you start building up that percentage, I don't care if it's 10, 15%, your score will start going down. That's why you charge it up, right? You use it for your bills, groceries, gas, going out to eat, entertainment, whatever. Just as long as you budget your money and you're responsible enough to pay it off in full by the statement date, 3 or 4 days by the statement date. And that way you would never go late. You never show that you maxed out your card, and you always maximize your credit points. And you always have a good payment history. That's how you properly use a credit card. If you do what I'm telling you, I promise you, you will be good. You have to be disciplined though. If you're spending more on that credit card than what you can afford to pay off, that's where people get caught up. Now, if it's an emergency situation, life happens and you have to, cool. Just make sure you focus on being critical and aggressive to pay it off within the next couple of months. But don't make that a habit. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, You put your debit card in a drawer somewhere, lock it up safely, carry a little bit of cash on you for emergency situations, and you use your credit card for everything. And then a few days prior to the statement date, if you don't know what a statement date is, go to your credit card statement, right? It's a PDF version. Log in to the website or whatever, or call and say, hey, when is my statement date? Find that out. Know that statement date, put it on your calendar. So then 3 or 4 days prior to your statement date, you take the money from your account that you work hard for the money, right? You go to work, you make an income, take that income and transfer it on the card every month, 3 or 4 days prior to the statement date. You will never go wrong that way. And guess what? It's much more safe. If somebody steals your credit card, they're not stealing your money. They're stealing the credit card company's money, right? So I can go on and on about this. I have tons of videos that talk about this already. But I have so many questions and people still don't understand how to use a credit card. If you follow this video, if you follow my advice, you will do great. All right. If you like this information, if you find it very helpful, please like this video. Please share this video because I wanted to get it out there. It needs to go viral. If we do this, we'll all be in a better situation and we'll get approvals left and right for anything we want. All right. If you need help with your credit, if you're trying to get some negative items off your credit report, hit me up, contact me directly. Hashtag the Credit Chief on any platform, and you can find my information. All right. Talk to y'all soon.